Hi, this is Father Stephen. I'd like to just share with you a couple of quick reflections on the Gospel of St. Mark that's coming up into the second week of Advent. As you know, as we begin this new liturgical year, we've switched from the Gospel of Matthew, and now we're focusing in this Advent season on the Gospel of Mark. The Gospel of Mark is the oldest scripture that we have. It's the shortest. It's all of 16 chapters. And what's fascinating to me about the Gospel of Mark is it doesn't start with the infancy narratives. It starts with Jesus beginning his ministry, and that's where we hear today Jesus is about to begin his public ministry. And Mark really focuses on a very clear beginning. The prophet Isaiah, John the Baptist is one of the last Old Testament prophets. He's got all the imagery of the camel hair and eating wild locusts and honey, very much a strong image of the old prophets of Israel. But there's something new that's about to happen, and that's the good news of Jesus Christ, Emmanuel, God who is with us. And as I said, Mark begins his story about Jesus very clearly, but he ends it rather abruptly and without real closure. Jesus leaves his disciples and says, go out. The women are still a little bit confused as to what is all the meaning of this resurrection. But Mark's purpose of that is that the story is still happening. It didn't end as in a historical moment when Jesus returned to the Father, but it's a story that keeps on giving. It is the story that is happening not just then, but it happens now. And that's the beauty, I really think, of the Advent season. It invites us into something new. We hear the stories year after year, but we can hear it in a new and different way, in a way that maybe we're ready to receive Jesus in a new way, in a deeper, more profound way, in this Advent season. So the question for me is, if we really believe that Emmanuel is the good news, how do I need to hear the good news? For a lot of us, I think, as raised Catholic, the temptation can be to say, I've been there, done that. Yeah, it's just another season. It might be a little different this year, a little bit strange because of the pandemic, but it's just another year. But it reminds me of a situation where I had a wonderful fellow that went through the RCIA, the Rite of Christian Initiation, 3 times. And he'd get right up to the baptismal point and he'd go, I'm not ready. And finally, the 3rd time he said, I'm ready. And I asked him, what's making you ready now, whereas the other 2 times, what did you learn differently? He said, I learned something about me. There was debris in the road in my life that I needed to clear up. And then I was ready. And now I'm ready to meet the risen Christ. It was a very powerful story for me, is that a lot of times in life, we're just not ready. So this Advent season, this preparation for Christmas, is not just about wrapping and trees and lights and bells and whistles, but it's really about what's the debris, what's the sin possibly that's in the way in my life that needs to be cleared out. And that's what John the Baptist is presenting us, is make straight the way of the path of the Lord, and make straight his path. And that is cleaning out the dead wood or the debris, the weeds that are in the way. So take a little time this week as you listen to that prophetic cry of John the Baptist. What is it in my life that needs to be set free, cleared out, weeded, or hoed in order to make my heart, my life, my soul ready for meeting Jesus in a more profound way in this coming Christmas? God bless. Keep at it. It's good news.